Hey guys, my name is Arun Tyagi, and here we are discussing about low-level patterns. So we already discussed one structural pattern, which was adapter. Now let's talk about another structural pattern, and this is a bridge pattern. Mostly, you will see even in these patterns that there is what structural pattern is doing. It is providing you a way, to decouple how a client is going to use your particular code, your code, right? So it will always try to decouple these so that you can do more and more reuse. You should be able to change things easily without thinking about whether you are affecting any of the client or vice versa. Let's talk about bridge pattern for now. So what this pattern is, so the official definition is basically it is about the decoupling of implementations. Abstraction, basically decouple an abstraction from its implementation so that two can vary independently. Now what does that means? So most of the time, so let's suppose you are having an implementation, a class which is an abstraction, and then you are having implementation of that one. So normally these two things are actually directly related to each other. If you see in inheritance, if you just define your interface and if you are implementing it, these are like directly coupled. So if you change one, you have to change another. So this bridge pattern helps you in those cases. Whether can you uh, even decouple the abstraction from the implementation. Here for simplicity, I'm taking an example of remote control. So if you are having a remote control of a TV or television, and there are high chances that you are having one remote. Tomorrow maybe you need to introduce another feature into it. For example, now we are seeing in smart TV, you have buttons directly to go to a Netflix app, for example, or Amazon Prime Video app, for example. Now tomorrow, same Samsung wants to give a button of go to Hotstar directly, right? So if to do these things, if you will have a tight coupled abstraction of remote, then that means you have to change both your abstraction and obviously the implementation. So can we do something in between? And in absence of pattern, what you will do, there's no other way but you will change the abstraction and then you will implement that whatever change you did in the abstraction. So here on a high level, let's think of you have a remote control. So I just defined the abstraction of it, which is an interface. Then you have implementation of these interfaces. So specific implementation, like Sony remote is having one implementation, Samsung remote is having another implementation. Now we are introducing one more thing in between. We are calling it an implementation of basically these types again. Okay, and this implementation again will be for everything, whatever you are introducing, Samsung, Sony, maybe Samsung version 2, version 3. You can actually have different implementations here, so you need not to touch the existing things. You can actually implement create new things and you can use those. What client will use, client will ultimately use these implementations, and it will continue using the main code. Now let's just see what we are doing. So first of all, a remote control. What remote control will have, maybe directly set the current station on, off, and set station is a functionality which will basically ultimately set this. So we can do a private set here, right, rather than make it a public one. So I'm just keeping it public because my code is written in that way. There can be other functionalities also. Let's consider this a very basic remote and having these functionalities and properties. Now Sony implemented it something like this. Current implementation, some functionality or maybe no functionality. Then you are having on, off, and set station, and some code is written here. Now same thing with Sony did that. Then Samsung also implemented something. Now their definition may be different. Set station may be entirely different functionality. Now the new thing which we implemented is basically the implementation. What we will do is pass your type, the remote control, and here you can define new functionality. So like I said, if you want to have directly a button which will open Netflix app for you, so you can actually give this into the implementation. Or tomorrow you can have some other functionality that open Hotstar directly, open Prime, right, or anything. So you can implement those things into the implementation rather than touching these, your abstraction. You need not to touch your abstractions here, right? So this is again a kind of bridge between your abstraction and the real implementation. Okay. Now so this is again the abstraction of your implementation itself. And then when you will define the concrete implementation, so Samsung will have set Netflix. For me, Netflix is like maybe app on number 26, or maybe the name of the app. So the implementation depends on what we have there. But like this same way, Sony may have a different implementation. Okay, I will have a Hotstar button and I will have a Prime button. So it will simply, what it will do is something like this. Like this, and in place of this I will have my Sony implementation. This is a new implementation. What I will do in constructor, I will pass my my abstraction here. So all the functionality which were there in the basic are here, but now I'm maybe giving functionality of set Prime directly. And for me, Prime is like my current station. Let's do it 01 or 1 basically here. Then I can have set Hotstar. And Hotstar maybe 2, right? So these are your new implementation, but basically and you need not to override it. You can basically, these are my concrete implementation, so these are not from my basic abstraction. So these are the new things. So this new implementation will go in your version 2, and yeah, will go in your version 2, and you didn't touch the existing base, your interfaces or abstraction, I would say, and neither the other versions. So your client maybe which were using different implementations will continue use those. We didn't touch anything, but because of this bridge in between, we found a way to deliver new functionalities without touching existing code, without touching existing classes. So this is the power of bridge basically. That's it. In fact, yeah, it's quite easy to understand. Bridge, what name suggested, it is actually just doing that much, but implementing it in a complex project is actually not that straightforward. So you have to just read it and find patterns, whether to implement new functionalities, to deliver new features, whether you are you're changing your code, and can you use something like bridge in between. If you can, you should follow bridge pattern there. That's it then. Let's meet into the next discussion. Thank you very much for today. Take care. Bye.